everyone, welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Emily and I have this YouTube channel for some reason. I upload once a week, and if you have a little gander on my channel, you will see that I upload a lot of random videos. So yeah, if you like that, subscribe! So you've clicked on this video for a reason, I'm sure, and that could be you are moving out of your parents' house into a flat or an apartment or whatever you want to call it, or you are thinking about moving out, or you are just curious to what you might need if you lived on your own, which kind of stumbles onto the next point. This is all based on living on your own. I don't know, well, I suppose it'd probably apply if you did live with someone else as well, but this is from my own experience, things I wish I knew when I moved out of my parents' house into my own flat on my own. So yeah, these are all things that you need to kind of have, well, not need to have, but it'd be a good idea to have if you were on your own, in case you were like a forgetful person or something, like I am. So I'll give you a bit of backstory. I moved into my own flat when I was 18. I just turned 18, so that was 5 years ago. And it was quite a big flat, like for me, being used to like a little room. But the thing that spurred me on to move out into my own little flat was a couple of reasons. One was because I was working full time. I was working at a factory, and the shift patterns were like days, nights and lates, or like earlies, nights and afters, however you want to say it. So obviously the day shift wasn't so bad. It would start at 6, so that would be an early start, which means potentially waking up family members. The late or after shift was a 2 till 10 shift, so 10 PM, getting home, potentially disturbing family. And then there was the night shift, which was leaving at 10 PM, getting in at 6 AM, which again, both ways would disturb family. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted my own place. So yeah, I wasn't being a disturbance. Also, being 18, I would start going out, and that's just another thing, like you want your own little place so you don't disturb family again, and also it's nice to have friends round like without having to worry about your family. And it's just got really dark. Like more specifically with me, my first place was in the town centre, so it was a good place for friends to come and have some pre-drinks, leave anything they need to, because I lived in town, so it was okay, and then go out. So yeah, it's just a nice bit of freedom. I'm quite an independent person, and I couldn't wait to move out. Not saying that it was bad living at my parents', because it wasn't. I really liked being at home. I had like an alright sized bedroom, so there was nothing wrong with that. But me just being quite an independent person, I wanted my own space, really. So if you're the same sort of person, then you know it makes sense to have your own place. And if you can afford it, then you know what's stopping you. When you're young, you are free to make your own choices, whether they're mistakes or not, you learn in the future. But for me, I wouldn't say it was a mistake. I did only live in that flat for, I think it was from early December to June, I think, of the next year, so not long. But the thing is, when you're young and you have the money to be in your own place, that money is yours to spend whatever, because you're not at the certain age where you have many commitments, so you can choose to spend your money like that. You have like almost disposable income, unless you have a family. When you make that decision to move, you put a lot of money to renting a place. Unless you're going to buy it outright, then fair enough. Don't know many 18-year-olds that can buy a flat outright. But when you're renting, it is dead money. You never see that again, and you have to decide if it's a good idea to put all that money into somewhere that isn't yours, or if you are better to save to then buy a place. So, you know, it's just one of them things. I haven't got that big of an attachment to money. I think that after a little while, money that you've spent is just, that's money you've spent. There's nothing you can do about it. Like, you can regret spending money on certain things, but that's money. Like, you've chosen to do that. And if you're in regular work, you constantly have a flow of money coming in, then, you know, it's not so bad. But it just depends on your attitude towards money. So if you have made that commitment and you want to move into your own flat, being young anyway, you might want to have new furniture or nice furniture, but you don't need to do that. A lot of my stuff was from either Facebook Marketplace or from charity shops, or was stuff my parents or family members didn't want anymore. So that's one main thing that you should probably do. It's a massive tip. Don't like buy stuff you don't need. Like, if you can get it cheaper and it's a good condition, like I say, if it's a sofa, it's comfy and it's cheap, why not? Like, don't be a snob when it comes to things like that, because there's just no point. Like, eventually you're gonna end up buying a new one anyway, like when you've worked out what you want to do with your life. But when you're on your own and you have your own place, don't bother overindulging on stuff. Just live comfortably. Just be quite smart with those sort of spendings, because you don't need to buy new furniture. A lot of places can come furnished, so you don't need to buy any, like some places even come with beds, which I think is a bit odd. But you can either get a furnished place or a part furnished place, or even get a house share where you have everything you need. So, you know, like, you don't need to spend, there's more important things to spend at that age, and that is clothes and going out. You don't need to be buying a new sofa. So, yeah. So another thing, when you have your own place, this is something that I had, or didn't have. I never had, sorry, my nails are disgusting, by the way. I never had a washing machine. So my mum would come round and take a lot of my laundry, clean it and bring it back. So if you don't have that sort of thing, if you can't do that, there are laundrettes around that you can pay like pennies to wash your stuff. So if you do that, it would save you a lot of hassle. You won't need to buy a washing machine, and it's just a bit more convenient. Like, you can kind of get into a little routine with it. And washing machines, like, I wouldn't say they're a necessity when you have your own flat, like, especially when you're on your own, because you're not going to be going through that many clothes. And when you think of a washing machine, like, I say if you even bought it second hand, you don't know how long it will last, but also the electricity and the water that is used for them, you will just save a lot more money just not having one. So if you did choose to use a laundrette, or even use a family member, get the big laundry bags. They're not expensive, and they're just easier for you to just put all your stuff in and then cart around wherever you go. So yeah, a laundry bag. Another thing I think is a really good idea, which we should have applied really to this place because we rent here as well, but most places are carpeted throughout. My first flat was carpeted, and then it had like a lino section for the kitchen. It was like a kitchenette sort of room. So I had the kitchen and then the dining room and then the living room. So it was all a big rectangle. All the carpet was a light colour. Most places have light coloured carpets. So if you're renting, it's a very good idea, I think. It's not the prettiest, but it's a good idea. Get yourself some big ass runners and doormats just to protect that carpet where the most traffic goes through. Because when it comes to you moving out and you've got, like, you can see all the black from where you've walked, like from the front door to the kitchen, or from like the kitchen to the living room, like, it just saves you a lot of hassle, and it saves your security deposit that you pay. Now, security deposit is not affected by wear and tear, but there are a lot of preventable things like dirty carpets that you don't want to have to pay a professional to do. So save yourself the hassle, get yourself some nice big runners There's that Tiger shop, I think it's called another name, maybe Flying Tiger. They do the weird woven runners. They're quite a good idea because they're quite thin, but they're not too expensive, so just get yourself some of them. It's more of an investment because it saves you a lot of messing around when you do eventually move out. So yeah. So another thing as well, this is in the kitchen. If you got yourself a slow cooker, then that will save you a lot of hassle for food. So I never had a slow cooker in my own flat, but we have one here and we use it all the time. It is so easy, especially if you're working. Like, you can make so many meals in a slow cooker. Even like, I don't know, you can make soups and casseroles. We've done before, we haven't had recently, but we had pulled pork, like barbecue pulled pork. And that is so easy. You just chuck it in your slow cooker, put your rub or whatever sauce you want on it, stick it on low, put the lid on, go to work. Because low, it's like an 8-hour sort of cooking time. Most work shifts are 8 hours, so if you had it on low, then by the time you're home, you'll have barbecue pulled pork. So I definitely think that would be another investment, a slow cooker. It's also something that you can just take with you wherever you move. I don't think they really break unless they're like really old. So yeah, definitely invest in a slow cooker. I will try and put some things up here. You've probably already seen some that I've put of like sort of generic prices for these sort of things, because you're not going to want to spend too much when you're young, and you probably can't even afford too much. So I'll put the cheapest options there. So another thing for the kitchen as well is storage Tupperware. That goes for, I don't know whether it's the ones for food. So you can get the big pots for your breakfast. If you have porridge or muesli or anything like that, then just get rid of the packaging, chuck it all in there, and yeah, it's just a lot more neater way of having it there, and you can kind of keep track if you need more as well. So I think they're a good idea. And also leftover Tupperware, so you can take stuff to work for your lunch. So Tupperware is one of them things that you definitely need because it's just really handy to have. So yeah, leftovers and lunches and things. So yeah. And then there's also organisers. So that could be anything from the wall plaques that you can get with the little pegs, or you can get a whiteboard or a blackboard, or just a calendar. You can get weekly planners. They're just good to have for any dates that you might need, that you might forget. It's really weird, like it depends on the type of person you are, but if you are quite forgetful, it's good to have some sort of calendar or some sort of weekly reminder chart thing for like when bins are being emptied, so you have which one, so you remember. It's also good for if there's any work commitments, like any meetings that you need to remember, you just jot it on there. Even if it's things you might think you will remember, put it on there anyway, because you never know, you might forget it. Another thing also is like list pads or memo pads. So if you are doing, like, say if you're making tea and then you use the last bit of garlic powder, for example, write it on your list, because then when you go shopping and you have your list of all your things, you will have had that on there so you won't forget it. And it doesn't just go for groceries, it can also go for clothes or anything really. I don't know what the or is. And another thing as well, which you might think is a bit obvious, but I had forgotten numerous times, and that was to actually lock my front door. When you're living on your own, it's very important to make sure you have your front door locked. It's also very easy to forget to lock it. Let's say if you're like home all day and then you have to like nip downstairs to get like a parcel, you might come back in and forget to lock it. It's very important to lock your door. If you feel like you might forget, have a little memo pad note or a sticky note or something, either like on your front door or on your bedroom door, so when you go to bed you'll see it and be like, oh shit, I better lock my front door. Because one time when I was in my own flat, luckily I did lock my door. We had an instance where one of the residents had left the main front door slightly open so it couldn't lock, and we had a random guy come in to the block, try everyone's front door handles. So luckily I had my front door locked, but if I never did, then God knows what would have happened. So it's very important to not forget to lock your front door. So many times I did forget, but after that I didn't. So just leave notes for yourself. Your future self will appreciate it. And one of the last things as well is when you have your own flat, so this obviously wouldn't apply to people in a flat share, but when you have your own flat, you are obviously in charge of your own utility bills. One thing I never did was change my provider. I was with Scottish Power, and I don't think they're that bad, but there is a high chance I could have got a cheaper tariff rate if I'd have like gone on a comparison site and got it changed. So that's something you could consider. Depends on whether you think that, because I've got this attitude with electricity and with gas and with water, that I use it, like whatever I need I will use it, and it's not one of them things that I feel like can be restricted that much. Like you can obviously save money by restricting yourself, but it's just one of them things that like you have to use electricity to like live in your house. So it's just one of them things, like you just pay your money, pay for your electricity, that's that. But if you do want a slightly cheaper rate or think you might get it cheaper, definitely look at changing it, because it could save you a lot of money. Speaking from like this place, we use a company called, is it Home Shift? I think it is, or it's something else, I'll put it on here. But it's a website that, a company that controls your utility bills for you. So you just put your information in, they give you either your provider's rate, or they can find a cheaper rate for you for their own like supply, so like gas and electricity, and they manage the water as well and the council tax. So everything is on there, and you can see exactly when bills are due. You can see how much you're using. You upload your meter readings on there, so you're keeping track of that. You're making sure that they're not just sending you estimated bills, that they're actually sending you like what you're using. So that's going to save you money. I think that's a really good idea. So, you know, if you are wanting to save a bit of money, then definitely go on that and do that. You can even just see if you can save money without making that commitment. So definitely worth checking out, I think. So there's that. But that was basically all of what I needed to say. There is now just going to be a list of random essentials, because every household has a shit drawer. And it has a lot of shit in it. And a lot of this stuff is very handy. So I'm just going to read a list of things that you might not have in there that would be good to have. So yeah, I'll just read them off my list. Super glue, tape, safety pins, sewing needles, wipes, whether they're like floor cleaning wipes or just like baby wipes, just wipes, it's good to have. Floor scrubber and carpet cleaner. So if you do make any stains, you can just get that sorted without letting it like fester. Also a stain remover, so whether that's clothes or floor as well, or like a sofa or bed, I don't know. Lighters and matches. So if you are a person who likes candles, then obviously it's good to have a few lighters and matches for that reason. Pliers, scissors, like mini scissors, and like hardware sort of stuff, so like screwdrivers. You can get the, I don't know what they're called, the remote controlled screwdriver thing, I don't know what it's called, power drill, I don't know, but them sort of things, you know what I mean. Just in case, let's say your bed like breaks you might need to fix it. If you have your stuff there, then you can just apply whatever knowledge you have, or even just look on YouTube, and there's lots of how-to videos, so you know, you can just do a lot of the DIY yourself. Some more things will be command strips. So a lot of places when you rent, they don't like you putting holes in walls, especially if it's a new place. So if you have command strips, then they're good for that purpose. And also get yourself some spare bulbs. Get the energy saving or the LED ones. And when you move into a place, always change all your light bulbs, because you never know if there's anything faulty with the connections on the ones that are already there. So just be safe and change all your light bulbs, because you never know. You don't want there to be like I don't know, something weird happening. If there is anything, or if you suspect anything, usually with electricals you smell fish, which is weird, but you smell fish, and if you smell fish, you know that there's probably an electrical fault. We had that here, and it just turned out we needed to change our light bulb. So yeah, just do that, just to save you some weird conversations with an electrician. But I think that's everything. Hopefully I've not missed anything, but yeah, that's just the things I wish I knew. Be more organised. You might not think about it when you are doing it, but this is me telling you, be more organised as a young person. Unless you're not a young person and you're a late bloomer, then just be organised. It's good. It's good for you. It's good for your mind. So yeah. But that's basically it. Hopefully this video isn't too long, and I hope it was helpful for some people. And yeah, if you enjoyed, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.